Hi guys, I'm Saito.
And I'm Nuke.
Today we are here to explain the structural and functional unit of life known as the cell.
This chapter is for revision only. It's a refresher session about all that we have already learned in Class 9. This will help us understand the several aspects of biology which specially constitute the Class 10 syllabus.
That's right, Nuke. Please note, though this video is designed keeping ICSE Class 10 syllabus in mind, anyone interested in learning about the cell can watch it.
So Saito, could you please tell us what all about the cell will we know after watching this video?
Sure. In this video, we'll cover the following topics related to the cell. What is a cell? A basic introduction. Single-celled and multicelled organisms. Cell, its shape and size. Animal cell and plant cell. Structure of a cell. Essential parts and organelles. Parts of a cell, their characteristics and functions. Microscopic examination of an onion peel. And nucleus, key to the life of a cell.
Wow, that's quite a lot.
Don't worry, Nuke. We'll make it interesting enough for you and our viewers.
Great, I'm excited already. Let's get started.
Okay, so what is a cell? All living organisms, big or small, are made up of microscopic cells.
Okay, but what does that actually mean?
This means that if we were to break down any living organism to its smallest possible form, we would end up with a single cell. This includes single-celled organisms like bacteria or bigger multicelled organisms like ourselves.
I get it now. So all organisms, as small as bacteria or as big as humans, are basically made up of the same thing, cells.
Correct, Nuke. Let's keep going. So each organism starts its life as a single cell. This cell then undergoes repeated divisions to form a large mass of cells. Therefore, cells are often referred to as the building blocks of life. Cells then get specialized to perform various tasks. Examples of these tasks are photosynthesis, respiration, digestion, etc. And that's why cells are the basic structural and functional unit of life. Nuke, I hope you have understood what all I just explained.
I hope so too. Let's check. I'll try and summarize all of it. You then decide how I fare.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, here we go. All living organisms, big or small, are made up of microscopic cells. Each organism starts its life as a single cell. This cell eventually undergoes repeated divisions to form an even bigger mass of cells. Am I correct so far, Saito?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. And therefore, cells are often referred to as building blocks of life. Cells do get specialized to perform various tasks like photosynthesis, digestion, and respiration. And therefore, cells are basic structural and functional unit of life.
Good job, Nuke. That was awesome.
Thanks, Saito.
Okay, let's proceed. We will now understand what are single and multicelled organisms. So, organisms that are made up of just one cell are called single-celled organisms. Its examples are bacteria, yeast, and amoeba. Next, organisms that are made up of just a few hundred or thousand cells are referred to as few-celled organisms. Its examples are Spirogyra and Volvox. Nuke, could you now guess what multicelled organisms are?
Yes, they are organisms that are made up of multiple cells. They could include millions and billions of cells.
Perfect. What about some examples?
Sure. Examples could include humans and fruits. Let's say mangoes.
Mangoes. Delicious. That's correct too. Let's move on to size and shape of cells. As for the size, cells are very small and can be seen only through a microscope. Red blood cells in animals are the smallest cells, while their nerve cells are the longest ones. The largest cells are the yellow yolks in the bird's eggs. Just for your information, an ostrich egg is the largest single cell of the living world today.
That sounds easy. So RBCs are the smallest, nerve cells are the longest, and an ostrich egg is the largest cell.
That's right. Now let's see what an average human body like ours constitutes of normally. The whole body contains 1,000 million cells. 10,000 millions of these are just nerve cells. They also include about 25 million red blood cells and approximately 30,000 million white blood cells.
I can't believe our bodies contain such a great number of cells.
Yes, they do. Remember, we are basically just a large mass of cells.
True that.
Alright, let's move on to cell shapes. Shapes of cells are often related to the functions they perform. Let's take human red blood cells for example. These are circular and biconcave so that they are able to pass through capillaries easily and transport oxygen to our various organs. White blood cells, on the other hand, are amoeboid in shape. That is, they are amoeba-like with an addition of pseudopodia. This shape helps them squeeze their way through capillary walls to reach their destination quickly. Next, nerve cells are very long. This is to conduct impulse to and from different parts of the body to the brain. Guard cells of the stomatal pore in leaves are bean-shaped to open and close. Nuke, did you make a mental note of the different cell shapes that I just explained?
Yes, Saito, I believe I did. Let me give our viewers a quick recap. Correct me if I'm wrong. RBCs are circular and biconcave to pass through capillary walls while transporting oxygen. WBCs are amoeboid with pseudopodia. This is to quickly squeeze through capillary walls. Nerve cells are long for conducting impulses between the body and the brain. And guard cells are bean-shaped so that they can open and close.
Well done, Nuke. That's absolutely correct. We'll now see the general diagrams of animal and plant cells. Let's begin with the animal cell. Here's the diagram. Nuke, could you be so kind and label the parts for us? I know you know them all.
Sure, Saito. Here is the cell membrane. This is the Golgi body. Here is the cytoplasm. Then we have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum with the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Here are the centrosomes. This is the lysosome. Here is the mitochondrion. And this, in the center, is the nucleus, which in turn is made up of the nucleolus, the nuclear membrane, and also contains the nuclear pores.
Great. Now let's see the plant cell. Nuke, please take over.
Sure. Now most of the parts are the same as they were in the animal cell, except for a few additions. Let me label them all for you. Here's the mitochondrion. This is the nucleus. The cytoplasm. Here is the Golgi body. Here are the smooth and the rough endoplasmic reticulum. This is the cell membrane. Now for the exceptions I was talking about, in plant cell we have additional cell wall, chloroplast, and the vacuole. Now that we have seen both the plant and the animal cell, let me show you the major differences. First is the size and the boundaries. Second is the presence of cell wall in the plant cell. Next is the density of the cytoplasm. Then there is the presence of centrosome in animal cells. Next is the presence of vacuoles and plastids in the plant cell. Now that we have seen both the diagrams, let me list the differences in a tabular format. Plant cell is usually larger with distinct outlines. Animal cell is smaller with less distinct boundaries. Plant cell has a definite cell wall made up of cellulose. Animal cell has no such cell wall. Cytoplasm in the plant cell is less dense. In the animal cell, the cytoplasm is denser and more granular. Plant cell has a thin lining of cytoplasm which is pushed to the periphery, while in animal cells, cytoplasm fills almost the entire cell. Centrosome is not present in the plant cell, while in the animal cell, we see centrosomes. Plant cell usually contains plastids. Animal cell does not contain plastids. Vacuoles are larger and prominent. Usually, plant cells contain a single vacuole. Vacuole, if present, are very small and temporary in animal cell, which are used for excretion or secretion.
Nuke, I must say you explained the cells very well.
Thank you, Cyto.
We'll now understand the essential parts of a cell, which are the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. Now let's begin with the cell membrane. Cell membrane, also known as plasma membrane, encircles the entire cell. It is a living membrane and has fine pores. It is semi-permeable, also called differentially or selectively permeable. This means that it allows only certain substances to pass through while preventing others. Plant cells have an additional outer non-living layer called the cell wall, which surrounds the cell membrane. The cell wall is mostly made up of cellulose. It gives shape and rigidity to the cell. It is freely permeable, which means that it allows substances in a solution to enter and leave the cell without any hindrance. Now let's move on to cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is the part inside the cell membrane and outside the nucleus. It is a semi-liquid substance. It contains several organelles, each having specific functions. Several chemical reactions catalyzed by enzymes occur in it. Other than organelles, the cytoplasm is made up of cytosol, which is mainly the liquid medium. And last but not the least, nucleus. Nucleus is a large spherical body situated mostly in the center of the cytoplasm. It is surrounded by a double-layered nuclear membrane containing nuclear pores. The ground substance of the nucleus is semi-solid nucleoplasm, which contains one or more round-shaped nucleoli, singular nucleolus. The nucleoplasm contains a network of dark-colored fibers called chromatin fibers. During cell division, these fibers condense into short, thick chromosomes. Now let's understand finer structures of cell, the organelles. Organelles are the specialized membrane-bound compartments in a cell concerned with definite functions. Organelles in a cell are similar to the organs in a body. Organs in a body perform one or more specific functions. In the same way, organelles in a cell also perform specific functions.
Cyto, here's an example. Like lungs in our body perform respiration, chloroplasts in plant cells perform photosynthesis. Is that correct?
Yes, Nuke, that's absolutely right.
Wait.
Okay, let's proceed. The living parts of a cell, including cytoplasm, nucleus, and other living bodies, are collectively known as protoplasm or protoplast. The term protoplast is appropriately used for a plant cell after excluding the cell wall. The living bodies, which are almost the same in both plant and animal cells, except cell wall in plants and centrosome with centrioles in animals, are called organelles. We will now go through the characteristics and functions for all cell parts. I'll state their characteristics, and Nuke, you state their functions, okay?
Okay, sounds good to me.
Let's begin with cell membrane. It is the outermost layer in animal cells. It lies next to the cell wall in plant cells. It is a very thin, flexible living membrane and has fine pores. It is semi-permeable and is made up of lipoproteins.
As for its functions, it separates contents of the cell from its surroundings. It regulates the entry of certain solutes and ions. It maintains the shape of the cell, especially in animal cells.
Next is the cell wall. Its characteristics are: it is a non-living rigid layer surrounding the plasma membrane. It is mainly composed of cellulose and is freely permeable.
And its functions are: it gives rigidity and shape to the plant cell, it allows substances in solution to enter and exit the cell, and it provides the overall protection to the cell.
Next, cytoplasm. Its characteristics are: it consists of all the parts inside the plasma membrane except for the nucleus. It contains the mixture of water and soluble inorganic and organic compounds and various organelles.
As for its functions, the cytoplasm has different organelles which perform various functions. All metabolic activities occur within the cytoplasm. It is the medium for the earlier steps of respiration, that is, the production of pyruvic acid in anaerobic respiration.
The next part of the cell is endoplasmic reticulum. Its characteristics are: it is an irregular network of tubular double membrane. It is continuous with the plasma membrane on the outside and the nuclear membrane on the inside. It may be smooth or rough. It is rough when ribosomes are attached to it.
And now for the functions, it is a supportive framework for the cell, and it helps in the synthesis and transport of proteins and fat.
Now let's see mitochondria. Its characteristics are: it is usually shaped like a sausage. It is double-walled, inner wall thrown into folds known as cristae. It has its own DNA containing several genes. It also contains its own ribosomes.
Now let's see the functions. It is responsible for the release of energy from pyruvic acid produced in the cytoplasm in form of ATP. It is the seat of cellular aerobic respiration and stores energy. It is also responsible for the synthesis of respiratory enzymes.
Next is Golgi apparatus. Characteristics: they are stacks of flattened membrane sacs. They consist of tubules, vesicles, and vacuoles.
And its functions include synthesis and secretion of enzymes and hormones, and the formation of acrosome of the sperm.
Next is ribosomes. Characteristics: they are small granules, either scattered in the cytoplasm or attached to the outside of the endoplasmic reticulum. They are single-walled, dense, spherical bodies composed mainly of RNA.
The only function of the ribosomes is protein synthesis.
Next is lysosomes. The characteristics are: they are membranous sacs budded off from Golgi body. They contain 40 different types of enzymes.
Their functions include intracellular digestion, destruction of foreign substances, and if the cell is old or injured, they rapidly destroy organelles. Hence, it is also referred to as the suicide bags. It also is responsible for the digestion of cartilages during the formation of bones.
Centrosome. Its characteristics are: it is a region surrounding centrioles located near the nucleus. It contains one or two centrioles, and these centrioles are surrounded by microtubules.
And its functions are that it initiates and regulates cell division and forms spindle fibers with the help of asters.
Next is plastids. The characteristics are, they are of several kinds. Most common ones are chloroplasts containing the green pigment chlorophyll. They are double-membraned, proteinaceous matrix, and they contain DNA. They have disc-like structures called thylakoids containing chlorophyll.
As for the functions, the chromoplasts are responsible for imparting colors to flowers and fruits. Xanthophyll gives the yellow color, while carotene gives the orange and the red colors. Chloroplasts that are green in color trap solar energy for photosynthesis. Leucoplast stores starch, and anthocyanin pigment is dissolved in the cytoplasm, which is blue and violet in color.
Next is nucleus. The characteristics are, it is the largest cell organelle. It is mostly spherical and dense. It contains a nuclear membrane with pores to allow substances to enter and exit. It has a network of thread-like structures called chromatin fibers, which contain DNA.
Functions. It regulates the cell functions. If removed, the cell dies. It contains chromosomes that are the bearers of genes that control hereditary characteristics.
The nucleolus. Characteristics. There are one or more round-shaped nucleoli present inside the nucleus.
Functions. They are responsible for producing ribosomes. They participate in protein synthesis by forming and storing RNA, and they dictate ribosomes to synthesize proteins.
Chromatin fibers. The characteristics are, it is a network and resting stage of the nucleus which condenses into chromosomes during cell division. It is made up of DNA threads.
Functions. The chromosomes carry hereditary information or the genes.
Next is vacuoles. The characteristics are, they are non-living. They are clear spaces with water or other substances in solution. Plant cells have larger vacuoles, while animal cells have fewer and smaller ones. They have a covering called tonoplast.
As for the functions, they are responsible for the storage of water and other substances which include food, pigments, and other waste products. They give turgidity to the plant cells by pressing against the cell wall.
The next is granules. The characteristics are, they are non-living, small particles, crystals, or droplets.
They hold starch in plant cells, glycogen in animal cells, and fat-containing granules serve as food for the entire cell.
Next, Nuke will show us microscopic examination of an onion peel.
Okay, so let's begin with the preparation of the onion peel. The steps are, first we will cut the onion bulb into 4 pieces or quarters lengthwise. We will then, from one of these quarters, remove a thick scale leaf and tear it from the inner concave side so as to get a thin transparent peel. Using forceps, we will remove this peel and place it in a watch glass containing some water. Next, let's prepare the slide for this experiment. Cut a square piece of the peel and mount it on a slide in a drop of water. Cover the peel with a cover slip carefully so that the tissue does not wrinkle. You may also stain the material with iodine or eosin solution to make the nucleus more distinct. Finally, we will examine this slide under a low-power microscope. So here's what the cell will look like under the microscope. Note, onion peel cells have somewhat regular shape, which is linear or rectangular. Each cell has a prominent cell wall, a nucleus, and the cytoplasm with 1 or 2 large vacuoles. The cells are firmly bound together, and the nucleus is placed towards one side, which is usually the case in all plant cells.
Well done, Nuke. You made this experiment look easy and interesting.
Thanks, Saito.
Let me now show our viewers why and how the nucleus is key to the life of a cell. Although every part of a cell contributes to the life of the cell as a whole, yet the key performer or the master of each cell is the nucleus. This can be explained with an experiment performed on a single-celled amoeba. Amoeba is a single-celled organism. It grows, divides into two amoebae, which again regrow and divide. Thus, the race continues. If we remove the nucleus from an amoeba cell, it will die. Next, let's take two amoeba cells and remove the nucleus from both the cells. Now, if the nucleus from the second amoeba is transplanted in the enucleated amoeba, the recipient survives and divides, while the donor amoeba, which is now the enucleated one, dies. That's all, folks. If this video was helpful, please hit the like button, and if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to comment. Also, we'll be adding more videos soon. To remain updated, do subscribe to our channel. Thank you guys and have a great day.